welcome to another episode of Life Experiences with William Pelarenos. I am here, I am your host, and the interesting thing is I have a returning guest here, Stephen Kotlewski. Steve, thanks for being out.
Sorry, I was just vibing to the sound of an upright bass.
So anyways, Steve's been on here. He's filmed on YouTube for us a couple of episodes talking about music genres and cult films, and I want to thank you for being here. But what our listeners may not know is that Steve was a policeman in Bensenville.
For quite a while.
And he was shot and wounded in the line of duty, and he's going to tell us about his experience with this gunshot wounds and his recovery, road to recovery. And I want to thank you for coming on and telling us about this, because it is a thing that people can imagine, but they have no clue what people go through and the family goes through once a first responder or a person in the military, somebody working, is shot and wounded. And I want to thank you for coming in. So tell us the background of your career at Bensenville and then go right into the shooting.
Well, I started being a policeman full-time in 2009. Before that, I got my feet wet working security for various retail stores, and that's how I kind of got mixed up with police work. The head of mall security was a commander at the Norwich Police Department, and one day he saw me working the door, catching shoplifters and whatnot, and he asked, just out of curiosity, he's like, "You ever think about being a cop for real?" And I go, "Not really, not until now." And he said, "Well, let's just test for a part-time gig." So they had auxiliary officers in the village of Norwich. One thing led to another. I got auxiliary. I liked the taste of it. I started testing full-time, and Bensenville was the first place that hired me. So in 2009, I took my oath. I never rescinded it. And I started my career in law enforcement. After that, do you want me to fast forward? I mean, how do you want to?
No. You started what year?
2009.
And you were a patrol officer.
I was a patrolman my entire career, but I had specialties too. I was an investigator for severe crashes. They called it DUCARD at the time, but it changed to MARE. All these acronyms, police work is chock full of acronyms. But I was an investigator for fatal crashes. We would be on a task force anytime there was a real bad one where people got hurt or died. I would go and do a lot of math and collect evidence to document these terrible crashes. That was one of my specialties. And then they trained me to be a DRE, which is a drug recognition expert. That's where you really can nail down on what and how much of something someone's done, which helped with arresting these DUIs. And in my opinion, all that work I did helped to reduce the amount of fatal crashes, because if I can get people off the street before it happens, all the better.
Yes, DRE for people under the influence of drugs or drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, anything. They really taught you. It's almost like being a triage nurse. I mean, you could just kind of look at someone, talk to them for 10 seconds, and kind of speculate as to what they're. And there are different tests too, different physiological tests they would teach me how to do in booking or on the street to test, pulse rate or different reactions to light with the pupils and whatnot. I mean, it goes well beyond the typical training that a patrolman gets.
All right, the night of the shooting, set the stage. You were working alone, or there was a multiple car? How many people were working the beats that night?
I think we were running minimums, which just means the fewest amount of officers that a village can.
But you were alone in the squad car?
We're always alone in the squad car unless there's something special going on. So, yeah, I was alone in my car. The call came out. It came out as a domestic between a mother and a son. And it wasn't even my call. I mean, I was going to go no matter what to back up the responding officer, but it wasn't. I mean, that's besides the point.
They assigned another officer, but you were closer.
I was real close. I was right around the corner. So I go, "Hey, I like the guy. I'm going to go check it out and see if there's anything going on." And I get there, and it was quiet as a mouse. And that's one thing that kind of gave me pause, is that usually with the domestic, you can hear something going on, some yelling or some commotion, and it was whisper quiet. I remember that vividly. That just kind of was strange to me. And I walked toward the door, and the door was ajar, which is normal. People usually know if the police are coming, they'll leave the door open if they can't get to it, as a sign of like, "Hey, come on in. We know, like we're expecting company." So the door is ajar, and I walk in. The lights are extremely low, which is also very bizarre. Usually, I mean, at this time, if you're awake, in the night, you have, I would assume, a TV or a lamp on. This place was pretty dark, which is another indicator that something was up. That's why I always call it an ambush. The way it happened, I mean, there's no other way to spin it. I would, get the police here so that we can kill the police. Anyhow, I opened the door. Well, not open it. It was already open. I walk into the beginning of the living room. The lady to my right, she's on the couch, and I ask her what the trouble is and where her son is, because I knew it was between a mother and a son, and she calls for him. His name was Keontae. And he walks out of this bedroom calm as calm could be. And I ask him very casually, because, I mean, a lot of cops, I was just me in a uniform. Just me, but amplified. And I'm very casual, dude. I'm very personable. I'll talk to you like, I just love talking to people. And I ask him, I'm like, what's going on? What's the trouble? How can I help you? I went there to help. And that's what really sticks in my craw, is that I went there to help, and I got checked for it. And we exchanged no words. And he raised his right hand and was holding a pistol, and he just started opening fire on me. And I took a lot of hits. I remember it being extremely painful and extremely hot. And my training kicked in, so I went to the right. Usually you want to go into the direction that would cause a person's arm to cross, because it's more difficult to maintain aim if you're crossing your center line than it is if you're opening up your aim. So I went to the right. Unfortunately, to my right was a staircase. So I tumbled down the stairs. He kept shooting. And when I got to the deck being the lower level, we were on the second floor, which stinks because I ate a staircase. I think that's what broke my arm. If it wasn't for a bullet, I think the staircase fall broke an arm. And once I kind of stopped falling, that's when I grabbed my gun and pulled it out and aimed it and trained it, or put it on the staircase. I was thinking he was going to keep coming at me, but he never did. He went in and reloaded. I know that for sure. So it means he emptied a magazine and wanted to shoot more. But after that, another officer came, the officer whose call it was. Yeah.
Let's take a pause right here. He opens fire on you. How many times are you hit, and where are you hit?
I got shot 9 times.
9 times?
Mostly in the legs, 1 in the abdomen, 1 in the back, because he kept shooting, and then 1 in the arm.
So as you're getting shot, you went out the door and down metal steps.
At the concrete steps with metal railing.
Okay. So you went down these steps after being shot and wounded, and you drew your weapon waiting for him to come out, thinking he was going to finish you off.
Yeah, I was ready to kill him. I was like, clearly.
Well, he's trying to kill you.
Yeah. So, it was literally like, I pulled it out, and I remember just staring at the staircase, and I go, if I see anything enter my cone of vision, I was going to open
3
fire.
rounds to the body and 6 to the left leg?
It's all over to my leg. I'm mostly metal now. Like, it's all scarred up down there. It's like Thanksgiving dinner.
Which leg, right or left?
Both of them are affected. Both of them were hit.
Okay, so you got him both legs, and the total 9 rounds, right?
Yeah, and the worst one is the one in the back. That one kind of messes up my nervous system.
Okay, so you go down the steps. He doesn't come out. A backup officer comes, sees you, and from what I remember the story, he immediately started putting tourniquets on you, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of a beautiful little thing if you think about it, because he had a choice to make. He had either preserve his own safety and try to neutralize the threat, or choose to help me, turn his back to the threat and help a friend. And he chose to help a friend. He put 2 tourniquets on my legs, and in a way that only he could. He was a very strong man. He picked me up off the ground and put me into a squad car, and I don't know if anybody else would have had the wherewithal to do that. I mean, there's no telling what happens in a crisis, I'm very thankful that he made that choice.
So he put you in his squad car to take you to the hospital?
I think he put me in a sergeant's squad car, and then the sergeant took me to an ambulance that was waiting, because the ambulance will wait outside of like a dangerous area.
Yes. I've run into this in the past, this situation. They'll stage someplace else because there's shots being fired.
Yeah, and I don't blame them for it. That's not their job. They're not going to enter the fight with us. I mean, they will if there's a wrestling match. And some ambulance guys are good for it, too. If you're in a fight, they'll come in and try to help you out. They want to go. But in this case, when there's a gun involved, I don't expect the ambulance to go. They shouldn't.
So anyways, the sergeant takes you to the ambulance. The offender never comes out.
He surrenders. He surrenders right after that.
He just surrenders, comes out his hands up?
The other officers are there. He surrenders. They put him in custody, and that was the end of the shooting.
They take you to the hospital. Which hospital did you go to?
I went to the Loyola.
Loyola?
Yeah, in Maywood, the trauma center in Loyola.
Very good hospital. Very good.
Yeah,
Trauma center. When I was on the beats, I worked north and south. If they went to Loyola or they went to LGH, I knew there were trauma centers. They had surgeons ready to go. I've always had a lot of respect for them.
Yeah, I was in and out in the ambulance. I know I died once during transport, and I was revived. And then I died again in the hospital, and I was revived again. But I don't remember. There was days of surgery. Just I can't even count them all, and I don't want to. I want to start just living my life now.
And when there's a shooting, people got to understand it's not that you suffer the wounds. Your entire family's suffering. Your wife, you were married at the time?
Yeah, I'm still married, yeah.
And you had kids at the time?
Mm-hmm.
So she had to be notified. She was probably at home sleeping?
Oh, yeah, it was time for bed. I think she'd just gotten out of the shower. She's going to turn in. The kids were fast asleep. And then a colleague and two colleagues of mine went to the house to break the news to her. And I'm sure she collapsed. And it was just as much of a trauma to her and the kids as it was to me.
Did she bring the kids to the hospital?
No, the kids weren't allowed. I didn't see my kids for 2 months straight.
Say it again?
I was hospitalized for 2 months, and I was unable to see my kids.
Wow. Because of those surgeries?
Just because it was a hospital environment. I think COVID was still kind of rearing its head, and they didn't want, kids are walking vectors. There's no way telling what kind of germs they're going to carry around. And I was in a very critical place. So, yeah, no kids.
So that night they operated on you, and you kept having surgeries down the road?
Oh, yeah, myriad surgeries. Like I said, I couldn't even count them all. I remember, one of the worst memories, though. I've had a couple terrible memories in the hospital. Just regaining consciousness at the wrong time. Like I remember regaining consciousness when they were pulling an intubation out of my throat, and that felt gnarly. It felt like a surfboard. Like because clearly it's not a surfboard, but when something's in your throat, it feels much bigger than it really is. It's putting pressure on the inside of your trachea. And then another time, they were wheeling me down for yet another surgery. And I remember being awake, but I was very photosensitive, so I always had something covering my eyes. I didn't want to see anything. And I was waiting in their like pre-surgery room where I guess you stage, not unlike an ambulance. And I smelled this. It smelled like I'm going to use the word abattoir, which is a very fancy French word to say butcher, or what do they call it? What is it called? Slaughterhouse. You could smell the blood. I mean, there was the whirring of bone saws. It was a nightmare. And I just remember being awake. There was a guy walking around. I think he was there just to give people comfort. Or maybe he could have been a hallucination for all I know. I could have been talking to myself. But it felt like there was like an angel just kind of giving me comfort before my legs at whatever surgery that might have been.
Well, you're in and out of anesthesia.
Oh, yeah, you're whacked out of your gourd, too. They give you some of these drugs that, I felt like my limbs separating and, melting into the bed. Dilaudid was one. Dilaudid is the one you want.
Anybody that's gone through surgery. Matthew, have you had surgery?
I never have.
Oh, well, you're in and out. You don't know what's real, what's a dream. But this is emergency surgery. So they have to act quickly. They got to stabilize you. You're moving from emergency room to recovery. Things are happening very fast. Do you remember when you first came out of it after the first surgeries? Did you see your wife?
I came out of one bout of surgeries, and the room was filled with patrolmen. And I think my dad was there. I got mad at him for some reason. I think, he said, "I know how you feel." And I said, "No, you don't." I was in a kind of an offensive thing to say to me.
Why, so, he had been shot in his career?
No, he was a mechanic.
Oh.
Which was kind of like, what do you mean you know how I feel? But he's old, and I guess he just tried to make me feel better. At the time, it was,
I thought he might have been a veteran that had been wounded.
No. He worked on semi-trucks. He's a wrench. I'm just a patrolman.
But, you survived it. 9 wounds, and thank you. Everybody worked well. Your partner, the sergeant to get you there, the paramedics to get you to the hospital, the emergency room doctors and nurses, and it all comes together. And I'm glad you survived it. While you were undergoing this, did they tell your wife it was touch and go? Were they predicting they
My
might
wife
lose
tells
you?
this story of her waiting in the waiting room, and for some reason they kept my bloody clothes in a bag in the waiting room with her, and she was sitting there looking at this bag of bloody clothes. I don't know why they did that. And she'll tell you exactly the same thing. She's like, it was torturous just to just see this image of what I used to wear as a policeman, just covered in blood in a bag. And then she finally, I didn't want her to see me like that. So I told the staff there that I was like, I don't want any visitors, chiefly my wife. I don't want her to see me in this condition, but they knew I was out of it. And deep down, I did want to see her. I just didn't want her to see me like this. It's a wild ride. And it doesn't end really because it does a number on your brain too. The idea that I went to help and then got hurt for it. I don't know if that's going to change me forever.
It does. It does. And a lot of people that, we talk about police officers and military being shot and wounded, but a lot of citizens are victims of crimes that are shot and wounded in traumatic experience.
Extremely, yeah. Changes your brain.
Yeah, post-traumatic stress disorder. And Matthew, you were here when I had the therapist with the therapy dog for post-traumatic stress disorder, and that's one of the reasons she does this for people that are shot and wounded, as well as veterans and police officers, first responders that go through nightmares like this. It was horrific.
I just had to go testify in a trial for the first time. I haven't gone to a single trial since 2021, and I just went last month, or maybe the beginning of this month. It was recent. And it was for fitness, because he's claiming insanity, and they don't know if he's fit to stand criminal trial. So this is kind of like where we're at right now. I had to testify, and it was pretty intense, but the state's attorney, Bob Berlin for DuPage County, said everything went as good as could be expected. So he'll give me an update if I need to go back, and which I'm sure I will, because it's not over yet. I don't think it's going to be over for a while.
Now, what year did the shooting happen?
2021.
And now we're at the end of 2025, so it's been at least 4 years.
It's going to be 4 years. Next year will be the 5-year anniversary, which is when my wife wants me to start pushing my music. Like the 5-year anniversary is when we're going to start. I want to release a single. I wrote a song based on my experiences as a policeman, and it had a tremendous effect on me. Usually I'll write a tune, and then when it's ready, I'll like knock on the door and be like, hey, Crystal. Crystal's my wife's name. I'll be like, it's ready. Can I play it for you? Like, she's my first audience. And I tried to play it for her, and it was overwhelming. It was so overwhelming that I got a tattoo of it. I've been creative my entire life. I've painted, I just gave a painting to my friend. I've made music my whole life. I've always been something of creative, artistic. Our house is extremely creative. My kids are all artists, consummate artists. And this song just had a profound effect on me. So it's the one I want to push on the 5-year anniversary of my shooting.
Well, you know what? You found a way to channel into creative originality. And now you have the time because you're disabled. You can't work as a policeman no more. And you've been going through still periodic surgeries, correct?
Yeah, I still do physical therapy. There's one pending surgery. I don't even know if I'm going to get it, though. It's for this arm. I can't pronate it. So the body's very interesting this way. When you suffer a trauma, sometimes it will panic. And what happened in my case is the bones grew too much. Like the bones that tried to repair themselves kept growing more than they had to. So now there's a bone block between my two, like in your lower arm, the ulna and the radius. There's a bone block here because they overgrew. And so I can't pronate it like I used to. Like this one can go all the way. This one cannot. There's one, if I wanted to have those shaved down, I can. I just don't know if I will.
Hey, but the bright side is you're still alive. You, 5 minutes? Mm-hmm. You're still alive. You survived it. How old were your kids when the shooting happened? Do you recall?
Well, if they're 11, 8, and 5 now, I guess just subtract 4 years. So it'd be 5, 4, and 7.
Oh, so only like the 7-year-old kind of had an idea what was going on.
Yeah, he was 7. Then my 4-year-old, that's what stinks though, is I was real tight with my daughter. She's starting to grow apart now, and she's, like they get smarter before you know it. And then with the internet, nothing ever goes away. So if they ever Google my name, they'll see it all, including the body cam footage. And
yeah, but now for them it's past history. Dad's home. That's
what I think is cool. Like my wife's dad was in the military, and he was always gone. I think they sent him to Desert Storm. He refueled planes. That was his job. like those, like mid-air refuels, which are kind of neat. But he was always gone, and I get the chance to be the dad that's always here, which is kind of neat. I hope they appreciate that, but I think every kid has they're always going to complain about something.
Well, now, you can't be a policeman anymore, and your wounds, you're never the same. They saved your life. You got some body damage. You're going to have to keep on doing physical therapy. You're never the same, but at least you're here and breathing, and you can be with your kids, watch them grow up. And that's the bright side, because, I get these feeds all the time where these recorded police shootings where these people just don't survive it. And military encounters. The internet is loaded with actual video footage, not AI stuff.
We'd like to get on that show. There's a show called Body Cam that takes incidents, like real world incidents, kind of like Cops.
Yeah.
But they'll do like one episode will be about this guy from Georgia or something, and they'll show his body cam footage. They'll interview the officer. We'll talk about it, not unlike we talked about it just now. And that's one of our goals, is to get on that show. That'd be kind of cool.
I'm a firm believer in the body cams, because they bring out detail. They may not show the whole scene, but they bring out details that later on you can focus on to figure out what happened, who did it, the offender. Did you have a body cam at that time?
Yeah, that footage is readily available, and you'll see exactly what I said.
So the shooting where he opens up on you is on body cam video.
Yeah, all of it. Even everything when the call came out, me driving in my car all the way up to the end of when I get into the ambulance.
The Axon?
We had a different one. It might have been Axon. It doesn't matter.
The Axons are available to private citizens now.
Great. Everything's on video now. If you know what stinks about this body cam stuff is that in court it used to be your word, and then it became like, well, if you don't have a body cam, it didn't happen. So like, well, then why do I have to write a report anymore?
Yes, but I understand. But I'm a firm believer in the body cams, because sometimes there's things you didn't see, you don't remember, and at least you got some video recording of it.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Anyway, it's better not.
I was a scrupulous officer, so it doesn't matter to me.
I want to thank you for coming, telling the story. As we're winding down here, I want everybody to keep on following us on our YouTube channel. What's our YouTube channel?
YouTube.com/WRMN Radio.
Thank you. Keep on following us. This will be archived on YouTube. You can review it anytime. Stephen, thank you for coming back.
No problem.
And telling your story. I think it's a very important story, and I hope you keep on doing recovering well.
Yeah, we're going to use this opportunity to be the artist and musician I always should have been.
Yes. And one day maybe we'll videotape one of you playing the guitar.
I'm going to take you up on your offer. You offered to record one of my tunes, and that's the tune from my cop experience.
Yes, maybe in the summertime we'll do something on our stage next door. What do you think, Nathan?
I'll rehearse it.
Great.
That'd be perfect.
Follow us here every week, and follow me on Pelarenos Police Project, which is my Facebook page, and on Twitter @Police Project 1.